Hi everyone, my name is Rain here. Welcome to our partner showcase again here at ProTech. Today we're very excited to have invited Katherine Zhu to speak with us about their organization and work. So thank you very much for taking your time to share all this information with us today, Katherine.
Thank you for having me here, and I'm very excited.
Great. So let's get started. My first question is, what are some of the core services that your organization provides to the Chinese and the Asian Canadian communities here?
Yes, so as an organization that's dedicated to smash every stigma in the world, we chose mental health stigma first to smash because of the pandemic. So for our Safer Space, acronym FASS is the one and only Canadian nonprofit organization that's dedicating to provide accessible, affordable, and also affirming mental health care and human rights related advocacy support. So right now, we offer a variety of free services to Chinese, Asian, Canadian communities. The first one is free listing services for all licensed mental health professionals. So therapists who belong to traditionally marginalized groups are not recognized enough for their resilience in the face of structural inequality. So we aim to level the playing field by centering and honoring their lived experience. So currently, we are inviting therapists who self-identify as members of one or more of the following equity-seeking groups, such as women, Black, Indigenous, or people of color, LGBTQ member, or disabled. This includes those identifying as mad or neurodivergent to feature on our free listing platform. And currently, we offer long-term free mental health services that are provided by counseling, psychotherapy, social work graduate students, and recent grad. As a practicum site for universities across the United Kingdom, Canada, and the US, universities including University of Toronto, University of Pennsylvania, University of Nottingham, the hours that the interns do at FAST will be counting as their clinical hours towards their degree in counseling, social work, or psychotherapy. So, and as we all know, mental health stigma is no news in Asian and Chinese community. So we are aiming to use this free service to smash the stigma and to encourage people to seek help when they need to.
Wow, so you're saying that you're essentially allowing students who are studying in the mental health field to offer free services to anybody who needs that.
Yes,
That's really amazing.
thank you.
Um, so since the pandemic, how how have the needs of the communities that your organization is serving changed? Have you noticed?
Yes, so our organization actually was established during the pandemic,
Mm,
interestingly. So before the establishment of this organization, forsaferspace.com, which is our Chinese website, was just a mental health resource yellow page for Chinese community for several months. And because of the pandemic, as a psychotherapist, I observed that there is a strong need for mental health services everywhere, especially in Chinese community, Asian community. And many of my clients told me that it is very hard to find the services that they need, especially in their mother language. So that's why, in response to a strong need for mental health services within Asian community, I started for a safer space that's dedicated to provide mental health services to community members that needs our services. And right now we have many Chinese speaking therapists who's listed themselves on our Chinese website for saferspace.com website. And we do have another website for saferspace.org website that's dedicated to English speaking therapists and also therapists who speak other languages so that people who need them can see them and also to seek the help that they need. So because our organization was actually established during the pandemic, so all of our work is online, 100% remote, and so there is no like physical barrier, and we're totally incorporating the AODA standard at our organization.
mm, mm. And do you think that there's a really a much higher demand right now for your services? Do you find both for like your professional providers as well as the students that are studying in mental health?
Yes, definitely. Because of the pandemic, there are so many students who cannot even find the practicum because many agencies, they just don't have that many opening or they don't have the capacity to hire one or two staff to supervise these students. So practicum has become a major issue for many social work faculties. So that's why, for us, that's where our organization comes in and also offer help. So currently, we are partnering up with 14 universities to provide practicum opportunities to students who need them. And
Oh,
and
okay.
last year, we provided practicum opportunities to almost 30 students. And this year, we are providing practicum opportunities to almost 40 students. And they all need
Wow.
hours, they all need opportunities, and they all need cases to practice their clinical skills. So yes,
Yeah.
Cyberspace is establishing in a really urgent time to provide the necessary services that both students and also clients need.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Um, and so, I mean, I guess you've answered some of these questions already. What do you see are some of the emerging challenges that we need to work with our communities to prepare for?
I would say emerging challenges as a mental health specialist, I see that finding affordable and accessible mental health care is always being challenging for so many clients. So as a registered social worker, psychotherapist myself, I actually just started a petition calling the government of Ontario to consider to include mental health services that provided by all mental health professionals in OHIP. Because
Mm,
mental health services are only included in extended healthcare that's offered by private insurance companies. And as a social worker, I know that not everyone has the privilege of purchasing a private insurance plan or secure a permanent position. And this privilege has become much harder to access for a lot of people due to this unprecedented time. However, because of the pandemic, the surge of demanding mental health services and the financial struggles of many has made me really worried about people's mental health well-beings and the services that they have access to. And also, yes, there are not-for-profit organizations that offer free supportive counseling, but it's only short-term and it's a one-time or two-time thing. And also, there are free government programs that offer free coaching and also self-directed learning modules, but it is far from enough, to be honest. There are many people who just need long-term psychotherapy, but financial difficulty has become the ultimate barrier to get to the service they need. So as a social worker and also a psychotherapist, I firmly believe that accessing to mental health care is a part of fundamental human rights, and everyone should have access to it. And that's why For a Safer Space is working so hard to deliver free and long-term mental health services to people that need them. Has interrupted many people's lives, and the government should try its best to help people to get access to the rights they deserve. So that's why we started this petition. And we have more than 2,500 supporters right now, and it's growing and it's counting. So we hope to push this bill forward.
yeah, you're absolutely right. I do think that long-term therapy, psychotherapy, is actually quite necessary for many people, and so sometimes that 12-week span is not enough. So yeah. Um, and so I guess you've answered some of this, but in case there are some that you haven't covered yet, are there what are some of the resources that your organization has developed to address some of these needs that our community in response to this pandemic?
Yes, so so at FASS, we have clients and consumers of our resources because it is important to us to have accessible and trauma-informed resources for people of all social locations from all communities. So at FASS, we offer platform of registered therapists for a variety of needs and social locations. We offer upcoming free mental health consultations in English because previously our long-term free mental health consultation or our long-term free mental health services are in Chinese. So we are expanding, and also we are going to offer the long-term free mental health services in English. And also we are currently building up a gender-based violence resource network at this moment. And we have constantly offer psychoeducation and also social justice education on social media channels, including Instagram and also YouTube, to bridge the gap between the public, the therapists, and the activists, and to raise awareness on different social issues. And also we have many advocacy efforts so far. So for a safer space, we have many intersectionality ambassadors to spread the importance of understanding of intersectionality and also raising awareness around the intersectionality. We actually co-organized the Stop Asian Hate rally back in March with other organizations. And we started virtual town hall every week on our Stop Asian Hate Toronto Instagram to process feelings with Asian community and to build allyship with other communities. And we, as I just mentioned, we started a petition to include mental health service in OHIP because we believe mental health is health and the time is now.
And so, because you mentioned that Safer Space began as a resource for the Chinese community, what do you notice are some of the more specific needs from the Chinese community?
I would say free resources, to be honest, because psychotherapy, counseling, or even mental health is a buzzword in our community right now because many people don't know the concept of mental health, or they just think, okay, why do I have mental health issue? I don't have like diagnosis or I'm not ill. So people usually link mental health issues with mental illness, or mental health issues or struggles with, oh, maybe I'm a like some people may think, okay, maybe I need to be hospitalized for something like that. So actually, free resources for Asian or Chinese community is very important because that is the first step for them to know what is mental health, why does mental health matter. So they are more willing to try the service first. And then after they try the free services, they will think, okay, so maybe this is something that I do need for the betterment of myself. So they are more willing to pay for the long-term professional services that they need. So to be honest, I think the free step is a necessary step, especially in Chinese community.
And so when you're reaching out to the Chinese communities, how do you promote yourself other than free resources? How do you promote it so that they will become more curious to try it out? Like, do you offer like, so I guess free services, but how would you even, you know, place in their head that they could try it and it's not because they're abnormal or sick, it's just something that they can try out?
This is where the psychoeducation kicks in. So usually, when I do advertisement for these kind of free resources, I just say, hey, we have these many students who come from these many universities and they are doing their clinical practicum here. So they do have professional knowledge that can help you. So first of all, I emphasize on professionalism. And then second of all, I will kind of do some psychoeducation around mental health and also what is mental health, why mental health matter, and why everyone might have like mental health struggles at one time or the other. So this is the destigmatization process, and there are people who are going to buy it, and there are people who are not going to buy it. So people who are willing to buy this destigmatization narrative, then they will be willing to try this free mental health services. And if they enjoy it, they will recommend our free mental health services to others. And then that's where the effort comes in. That's where the raising awareness movement comes in. So people spread the words by word of mouth, and people like to try the resources that are shared by their family members or from the people they know. So right now, because of this word of mouth marketing and also advertisement, in just 2 months, we have almost over like 400 customers, 400 users to try our free mental health services. And many people have given me the feedback that, oh, I didn't know that mental health services are like this. I assume that I need to be hospitalized in order to get treated for my mental health struggles or issues. So this a very necessary step, to be honest, from my end or from my observation, that to get people to know about what mental health is and how they can improve their mental health conditions, or how they can improve their mental health status by using the resources that are available to them.
Yeah, wow. Um, So, in terms of all the communities that exist right now in this interesting times, how can Protect and other community partners or members work with your organization to support the work that you're doing, and like address some of these needs in the communities?
Thank you very much for asking this question. So I think right now we need as much media exposure as possible because we do need as many people as we can to know about our free services as possible. And currently, to my knowledge, our organization is the only not-for-profit organization that's offering free long-term mental health services to people with no limitation on the number of sessions.
Wow, that's very important.
Yeah, and also people can stick with their own therapist every time when they see them. And it's very important. We know there are many NGOs who offer short-term counseling sessions, and every time when they see a different therapist. But that's not enough. Well, those are very good services. I definitely want to acknowledge that. But for some people, that's not enough. So we want to be the resources that's available to people when they need just one therapist to stick with them for longer time. So we are there to support them. And also we need as many people to sign our petition in order to even get a chance to put the bill on the table to include mental health services in OHIP as soon as possible. And we know as a social worker, as a psychotherapist, I know there are many lives that they just cannot wait. And the time is now to change that. We have to include mental health services in OHIP as soon as possible.
Yeah, and it's interesting. You mentioned a good point about how some clients need long-term psychotherapists and support because, clients may get frustrated if they every 12 weeks they switch to a different psychotherapist and then they have to retell their whole story again. Whereas if they're with someone long-term, that person really knows them. I think particularly within the Chinese community, they really appreciate having someone there long-term. Because that's when, especially with developmental traumas or traumas that come from a much younger age, that you need that long-term care. So yeah, that totally makes sense.
Yeah.
So do you have any other issues or ideas or call for actions that you want to share with our audience?
For sure. So currently, we are actually planning to build a national alliance for gender-based violence survivors and supporters. So like supporters who can support those survivors. So FASS is we are a Canadian registered NGO that's dedicated to getting people the rights they deserve. So for survivors of gender-based violence, navigating resources can be a barrier to accessing appropriate support. So to address this, because I'm a social worker, I find this problem. When people need to get access to certain resources that they need, there are wait lists, or they don't know where to go to. And then navigating resources can be a barrier to accessing to appropriate support. So to address this, FASS is creating a network to connect gender-based violence resources and also organizations across Canada and to increase resource accessibility for users. And FASS will act as a platform to help connect survivors to organizations in their community or virtually for legal, mental health, or shelter support. So we're doing outreach right now to see if other NGOs would be interested in joining our network. And this would be also at no cost to other organizations. And they would receive additional outreach and visibility to survivors of gender-based violence. So I very much look forward to the potential partnership and advancing the accessibility to gender-based violence resources.
Wow. So you can definitely share with us some of this information, and we'll post it in some of our resources as well too, so that people will be able to look through it as they come to our websites. My final question, last but not least, you can let us know how the public can get in contact with you or get involved with your organization.
Yes, definitely. Thank you for asking this question. So we welcome everyone who want to make a difference and contribute to a human rights advocacy and mental health platform. So right now, we welcome everyone to help us to create a safer space for everyone. So people can join us as a volunteer. We are looking for volunteers to spread the words about the importance of intersectionality and social justice. And we are going to train volunteers to be more effective human rights advocates or like social advocates, social issues advocates. And moreover, we are going to train volunteers to run like support groups for the causes that they care about. And For a Safer Space, it's a social work value center, not-for-profit organization based in Canada, and we do offer social work or like counseling or psychotherapy practicum for bachelor's and master's level social work students, master's level counseling psychotherapy student to meet their degree requirement. So if people are interested in completing their practicum here, feel free to reach out to us. And also, me myself as a registered social worker, psychotherapist myself, I understand the challenges when it comes to clinical supervision in the psychotherapy field. And I know that the supervision fee is very, very expensive to many new grads or recent grads. And also, because I am establishing this not-for-profit organization, I am dedicated to contribute my time to the cause that I care so much about. So for everyone who listed themselves on our mental health platform, I will offer free mental health supervision. So right now on our mental health platform, we have had several new social work grad listed their affordable services on FASS already. And they are gaining the clinical skills that they need to be better psychotherapists. So if people who are new grad or require clinical supervision occasionally, they have free access to my clinical supervision. So I offer free clinical supervision to people who list their services on FASS to support their journey as psychotherapists. And also later we will have a supervision booking page on our FASS website that will make this process so much easier for people to get access to my free supervision time. And also FASS, we acknowledge that access to mental health is a fundamental human rights. And that's why we are offering a free listing platform for all therapists, especially therapists that identify themselves as therapists of color, LGBTQ friendly therapists, and feminist therapists. So as I just mentioned above, people can join us in these many ways, and we welcome everyone to join us to create a safer space, because in order to create a safer space for all, everyone has to be involved. Thank you.
Wow. Okay. So we'll definitely, make sure that your website is accessible to people who are coming on our page. And it was a very informative chat with you. And thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, Rain.